smells like shit.
And we synced up. Like a period. Did the joke. It's going to be a good ep. Hello, and welcome to I Don't Want to Be a Piece of Shit. I'm your host, Carter Doherty. And look at this. It's just me. It's just a solo ep. Oh my goodness. Hey, thank you guys, everybody that's been tuned into the podcast lately. I've had a couple of good guests on here. I had the co-hosts of Dad Meet, which I made an appearance on. So if you're here from that, thank you so much. I appreciate the people that came out and listened to those eps and gave me good feedback. The feedback seems to be that they enjoy the pod, but the production value is pretty shit. So I'm gonna up that the Mike Rainey episode. I realized my podcast has been too quiet. Everybody's telling me it's been too quiet. So I found out that the levels that you got to keep it at so that it sounds good in the editor program. I asked a couple of buddy friends, because that's what friends are, buddy friends. And they instructed me on how to edit that. So hopefully they sound better in the future. If you're listening on audio, hopefully you're getting the full submersive experience where you feel like you're in the room with me right now. Feel like you're right in this chair that's you can't really see in the frame. Imagine you're just sitting right there and I'm talking to you. So yeah, if you're checking out the podcast first time without either of those guys, I guess I gotta explain what this is to all the people that maybe are tuning in. I don't know. I started this podcast a couple of months ago. I went through my breakup of 4 years, and I decided to just try to figure myself out. I've just been a piece of shit my whole life. I've been the guy in class that never brings a pencil, never has their homework, the person that gets too fucked up at parties, the person that's had a drug problem, the person that's had any impulse control problem whatsoever. That's the kid right here. I've just been a glutton for everything my entire life. I've just wanted to consume, and just... Because it's like... Why wouldn't you just want to feel good all the time, you know? So why wouldn't you do the things that make you feel good in the present moment? Just do those all the time. And so I've just lived a life of that, of constantly doing things just to feel good for the moment, instead of building myself to be a better man. And so I get everybody is here for comedy, and this is a fun I think I'm a funny guy. I do stand-up comedy for all my free time. I try to be funny. Most people would go, Carter, he's a funny guy. But also, I can't just you can't just live a life of funniness. You can't just be the guy that is the punchline. I realized I want to be happy, and I think to be happy, you got to love yourself. So that's what the podcast is. This is a journey of me trying to love myself. And honestly, a lot of the listeners have been people that I know in person. And this podcast, I really just try to tell all my stories of degeneracy and what I learned from them and how I'm going to improve in the future. And so having the listenership be mostly people that know me in person has made this podcast kind of a embarrassing pursuit thus far. I've talked about a lot of things. And I guess what I really want to get to in this episode is kind of what I've talked about a lot on here, which is my impulse control, especially when it comes to sex. I really struggle with that. And I made a video. The first thing that got any traction on this podcast before any other podcast experiences, I did a whole 40-minute thing talking about my sexuality just for 40 minutes straight. I kind of broke down how I got to the point of where I am now. I hinted at it a little bit in other podcasts. I am a bisexual man. I love vaginas and cocks. Both are cool by me. But you start to when you go out into the gay hookup scene, there's just a lot of dudes just be fucking. Dudes like to just do it whenever. And so that means I can just go on an app, a gay hookup app, and go have sex immediately. And this is a problem with somebody who just always is thirsting for dopamine. If I can just have sex on demand, that's not a thing a human is supposed to be able to wield. it causes you to be a bad person. So I kind of talked about my struggles with that for a while in that episode, and honestly, that was the point of the podcast, because after I put that out, I've received so many like page-long messages of people going like, you really broke down how I feel and how I struggle with the impulse control and how the gay hookup culture. It's, man, I sometimes I get the Christians. I'm like, we shouldn't be doing this, but it's like if you're a food addict, you know, it's just like you got to have food, and you know you could eat healthy every day. But it's like McDonald's is on every highway stop. You could always eat it's always there. You can get it on an app. It's 24 hours. And it's just, I think it's a thing that you have to learn to, you got to learn to eat healthy. You got to learn that even though you want McDonald's, you're going to eat McDonald's and then you're going to have AIDS tomorrow. And that's why you can't hook up with every McDonald's. So yeah, I guess I wanted to get into that, but I'll talk more on that later in this episode. But just know that's going to be the theme. Now, right now, I'm going to get into state of life. Where do I be? I was in Austin these last few months. I'm a nomad currently. I'm living just wherever, and right now I'm back up in Chicago, where I did stand up the last 2 years, where I met the Dad Meat guys, where I've kind of grinded it out for a little bit. I've decided to return to do shows for a month and to see the homies. And I'm honestly excited to be out of Austin. Austin was so much fun, but it's a lot. It's a hustle and bustle. Everybody's trying so hard out there. It's a lot of like, what do you got going on? It seems like LA in the old times, where just like a little too much hustle and bustle. I was starting to get exhausted by the end, but I loved it. I loved how much forward progress I felt like I made in comedy. I feel like I got some work done out there. But I'm happy to be back in Chicago. I did a spot last night, and just going back to the bisexual stuff, this is really just like, just because it's such a debate in my brain of I don't know how I feel about things. I'm really I have like this long chunk that I've been working out. It's like 10 minutes long about being a bi dude, and last night it went like, I tried out so many new lines, and it was like in a packed out tiny little room, and it was a show of just all my like good friends were on the lineup, and I was throwing lines out in the green room. Did the show. It went like, a lot of the stuff went really well. I'm really happy with, like, I'm just so pumped on it, right? And then after the show, we're hanging out, and then we all decide as like a group of 8 comics that are all like in their young 20s that are good friends and such good people. We all go, let's go to a diner. So we go to a diner after, and we're just talking about all the comics we hate, and I just had a good set, and this is what I want, and I'm so happy I got that. And I think this is a thing that I've been having in life lately, where I keep having really good like, my life is set up well. I have, all the things that make a good life, and I'm happy. And this keeps happening, where I keep being happy because everything keeps lining up and my life is good. But what I'm struggling with right now is sometimes my life won't be so good, and things will start to not go my way, and then I almost like break down. I don't know. I want to be able to master the art of Zen and just be okay even when things aren't going my way. I felt this down in Austin when I just felt like it was starting to not go my way a little bit, and for some odd reason it devastates me. And I need to learn. And I think it's all about like I rely on external validation to feel happy, and I just want that inner peace within. So that's why I think I need to love myself, like the point of the pod. So this is a journey, and I'm trying to love myself. I'm so stoked on everything right now, but I think if it were all to go away, like if all my friends were to leave and comedy were to go to shit, I think I would be really sad. And so I want to be able to have those things go away and still be happy. And I don't know what I need to do to get to that point. So I keep setting my life up well, and then I keep being happy, which I guess I should always be striving for. you don't want to set up a shit life. But I'm just worried because I'm so happy right now. But I was so depressed just a few weeks ago, just like 2 weeks ago. I was so sad, so sad. And being sad, I haven't learned the best coping skills yet. If you were coming from the Dad Meat podcast, the whole pod I talked about my living situation in Austin, which I was staying with this nice lady. She was a stripper, and we had met at her job, and it was a dope thing. But I've realized I put myself in positions that obviously that's a bad idea. I shouldn't have met somebody one night and then we just like text for a little bit and then I go, I'm going to stay with them for 3 weeks because I don't know them. Like that's a very irresponsible thing to do. You're putting yourself in a compromising position, yada yada. But it was a good setup. I went there, and this is the difficult thing of. So she was really cool. Let me stay, and I liked her. She was really cool, really spontaneous, just a lot of personality. But also it was a difficult thing because she was going through a really rough time in life. And so I get there, and she's like the best person to me. She's so nice. She's paying for all my stuff. She's letting me stay, and she truly is being a good person to me. But she's going through such a hard time, and not like required because I don't have to do anything, but would like need comforting. And then it's like I gotta comfort this person, and then like I just realized hanging out that maybe we just didn't click as much as I would have liked, and we're just not like meant to be like that, like cohabitating, which by the way is an insane thing to do with somebody you don't know. But I just realized that we just didn't vibe like that. We didn't connect. And then to have to be like provide this emotional support, which wasn't asked of me. This is something that I was doing because that's what you're supposed to do. If you're staying with a person and they're going through a hard time, you gotta support them. And then when you go, I just don't even know if we're that good of friends in the first place. And this is where I just wish I was a better person, because I don't know what I wish I was, but I felt it kind of grinding on, like, it just felt like it was taking a lot of my attention, and I just went, I don't want to do this. And so I left. And I don't know if that, what that decision was, if that was a good thing or a bad thing. I also started to feel a little just uncomfortable, like, I felt like she didn't like me that much either. So it just was a whole weird thing. Glad, I don't know. She was cool, and I feel like a piece of shit for that. And so it kind of like that gave me a lot of anxiety leaving there. And then just for my last week in Austin, I was so... I just felt anxious and depressed because like a lot of my friends weren't able to hang out. And then like this is really gay, but I thought I was going to meet Shane Gillis one day, and I went to go pull up because a bunch of my friends invited me. And then I pulled up, and I like texted all my friends that invited me, and nobody could get me in. And I was like, oh, all right. So then I drove home, and I just felt like the like a little bit of rejection. And then somebody that I tour with came into town, and it just felt awkward to me. And there was a lot of anxiety and depression just building up. Like I was anxious about my position in the world. I was depressed about my position in the world. I was like everybody hates me now is what I was started to think. And it in just this kind of whirlwind of, I don't know, I just feel like I was burning at both ends a little bit. And this led me to just pick up the phone and start scrolling Grindr again, as one typically does. And I used sex to make me. It didn't make me feel better. I went and I had gay sex. You're welcome, everybody, for hearing that. And God, if you're a family member listening to this, I mean, what are you doing? Why? Just, I appreciate the support if you know and love me, but this isn't what you want to hear. This is, and I appreciate it, but I know, and I know, I think I'm supposed to do this. I do think I'm supposed to broadcast my private life to the whole world because of, I think it keeps me in check of trying to make myself a better person, and I've gotten support of people going, "You're talking about how I feel," which is like, by the way, I say outpouring of support. I've gotten like 7 messages, but still 7 dudes going like, "I just feel like I haven't heard anybody talk about it like this before," and I'm glad you were able to articulate how it feels in the struggle, and I think it's something that a lot of people do. I mean, so many people struggle with sex addiction, but I just think dudes don't talk about it because it's so taboo and so like not okay to do that. And if you go back to that episode and listen, it is really fucked up. I've been, since I was very young, hooking up with dudes, and it's purely just a physical thing. I haven't had a relationship with a guy. So, yeah, it's just a lot of synapses that were, I think, misaligned with the dopamine. But yeah, I did that, and I felt bad after, where I just was like, I'm trying to figure out, is it this internalized homophobia where I go, can't believe you'd do something gay, bro. But I know that's not true now, because now, like, I'm able to hook up with women, like, because I'm older, I think, just pretty easily, and I get the same shame. I get the same bad feeling of when I just use a lady. So I know it's not, but maybe I get like a deeper regret when it's with dudes, but I don't know if it's because I know that it like kind of escalates to worse and worse things. And I think that's what I'll get into this episode. I think the worse and worse things is just every dopamine craving that I have has just escalated into a bigger and bigger problem, because I go like, oh, this feels good. Why don't I make it feel more gooder? And I do that with everything. I always take alcohol to the nth degree. I go, well, I'm feeling a little buzzed. How about I just black out right now? And I don't know what it is about going balls to the wall. But with the hookups, this is gonna be like, I don't even know how to explain this part of it, but it's really popular in the gay hookup. Now, seriously, this is who I am. But if you know who I am, just skip. I talked about this on Getting Some Head with Mike Rainey, and I realized maybe I should be honest and forthcoming about the issues that I struggle with. I haven't talked about this on this podcast at all, but in 2020, I got back from basic training in the military after having to be there for way too long because of COVID. My school, I was supposed to go to college that fall, and it was all online, so I lived at home. I thought the world was over. The only things I cared about, stand-up comedy, living a college lifestyle, both those things taken from me, and I thought they were never coming back. And I just thought I wasted the last couple months of my life to get a free college, even though I wasn't even going to get the college lifestyle that I wanted to go to college for. I had to live in my mom's house when I thought I was going to be living in a college town and in Akron, Ohio. I thought my world was over. And there were still open mics and stuff in Ohio, so I was going to open mics, just like doing my time. So my problem with alcohol is I would black out really easily. That was the time in my life where I had a tolerance. I didn't realize how insane it was, but I went up to the bar and asked for a quadruple Jameson, which the bartender just looked at me and went, and so I got 2 doubles and then just poured it into one glass. But I was like just going up and ordering that like every time and just sipping on it, just sipping on straight Jameson. So I was getting fucked up every day. I was 210 pounds. I was like just living it to the edge every day. I didn't. And COVID was happening, so I didn't even have to go to National Guard drill. Literally nothing. No responsibilities in life. No drive. No goals. So after I would get hammered, go to an open mic. After the open mic, just scroll through Grindr in my car, go to wherever, hook up with a person, go home, and that was like my daily routine. And I would literally just smoke weed in my room, play video games all day, go to the open mic, drink the entire open mic, go hook up with somebody, go home, wake up, rinse and repeat. And I looked like shit. I felt like shit. My mindset was shit. Everything was shit. And one of these hookups after an open mic, it's a trans lady. And we are, I go over to hook up, and before we hook up, she's like, I'm gonna go do a line real quick. Goes and does a line, and she's like, do you want some? And I was like, yeah. She's like, it's Tina. And I was like, okay, must be one of them new drugs. I thought it was like kind of like Tusi or Molly or something like that. So I did a line. I was like, whoa, ouch, that hurt. And then proceeded to really, really enjoy hooking up. Like a lot of dopamine going to the brain, and we kept doing lines. I was like, whoa, this is a crazy night. And then eventually night turns into 2 nights, and we keep doing the Tina. That 2 nights turns into 3. Eventually I start Googling Tina on my phone. I'm like, what are we doing? We were doing methamphetamine. I was snorting methamphetamine. And whoa. I mean, like, it seems insane. But it's just like literally just Molly that you can keep doing. Like, Molly crashes, but you can just keep doing meth. And they never call it that in the gay hookup community. They never call it. They always call it something else, obviously for texting and purposes like that. But I can't even begin to explain how popular it is. Like you think meth, it's just like people that look like crack addicts under a bridge doing it. But it's like, now that I've been out there, it's a lot of like young Twinkie guys that like have their lives together, have like a finance job. It's insane how common it is, and like not as druggy. Like, it is so druggy. It's so bad, but it's just not. You would think it's only people that have destroyed their lives doing it, and you're like, maybe it's obviously not adding to their lives, but you're like, I didn't realize. Okay, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just saying, don't judge me too hard. You can judge all you want. This isn't very funny, and sorry if you're expecting something different, but this is the point of the podcast. So if you don't like it, I'm sorry that I wasted your time. But also, I do have a good guest coming next week. And maybe he'll come back. But we are going to talk about this the whole time. My guest next time is going to be Ian Finance. So if you like him, listen to the next time. But he's somebody that struggles with the same exact thing. So I think we're just going to talk about this the entire time. And so the commonness of speed, what they call it most of the time is ice or Tina. And that became in 2020 an issue for me, because after that, like, 3 days of binging, then I started to have like panic attacks and started hearing things. I was like, can't ever go do that again. That was insane. And then like 2 weeks goes by, I get hammered again, and then I just people advertise it in their profiles online. Like I could go on Grindr right now and scroll through, and I guarantee somebody's gonna have like a person, like the emoji of somebody blowing out confetti, like just any. It's called Party and Play, and now this is a thing that I struggle with, where I've probably done it like 15 times in my life, which is a lot. Don't get me wrong, but now like I already struggle with the hookups, and so when that like door gets knocked down and I start to hook up, then it just could escalate because now I'm trolling those apps. Now I'm like, now the place where that thing is acceptable is I'm on there. I'm like, I can't. That's the reason I feel I can't go do that, because that leads to that, and then that leads to me throwing my life in the trash. So I don't know if anybody struggles with that aspect of it all. But I do truly think I've been trying to take on this whole self-improvement thing on my own, and I feel like I've been doing a good job. I went from 200 pounds, drinking all like every day, like getting blackout, crashing cars. I haven't drank since October. I have like a 6-pack right now. I'm doing actions for myself that lead me to a better life. I'm starting to meditate again. I've realized I just hit a bottom point down in Austin where I was starting to like, hook up, and I just felt myself getting really like, what's the fucking point? Go do it. Go, like almost like telling myself to go do meth again. And I want to make sure that my brain doesn't tell me to do that. And I've been trying to do this whole thing on my own. And what most people, when they've reached out and saying, I relate to you, this is something I've struggled with too, you're not alone. What they usually go is, yeah, I've been in this program and it's really helped me out. I've been in this program. Everybody's got a program. And it seems, I do think I'm being shown a lot of signs. Two people that I know very like personally have talked about being in like Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous, and so many people, like, I don't know. People have my ex told me I should go to meetings for Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous, something to. I do feel I would be stealing valor in Narcotics Anonymous just because I had a problem, like I would go binge, but it wasn't like an everyday thing. So I don't know. Maybe I should go. But I do think that's the logical next step in all this, because I've been good, like, at doing it on my own by just sheer willpower and white knuckling it. And that's not even true. I've been going to therapy. I've been trying to break down, and I know it's because I don't love myself. But I guess maybe that's why people go do programs, so that they tell you step by step on how to do those things. So, yeah, I'll probably do that. Man, I had other things I kind of wanted to get to in a solo ep. This one's all serious. All biz, no play. Did I have anything? Yeah, I guess I just have. I had some stuff written down that I wanted to get into before I got into all of this, but I went straight into it. Yeah, I am happy with all the things that I'm doing to better myself, though. I've kind of pulled back on working out a little bit because I've started to feel a little bit of body pain from how hard I've been going. And one interesting thing, it's kind of blew my mind. Not blew my mind, but I was visiting my great aunt in Arizona, and she's Such a sweet lady. Moved out there when she was real young, real hippy dippy. She still wears like pink tinted glasses and like denim vests, just full hippie vibe. She's so meditates zen. She can do a pistol squat in her 70s. It's awesome. But I was telling her about how I have like, we were just talking about wellness stuff and stretches she does. I was like, yeah, I just got really tight hips. And she was like, tight hips? If your hips are really tight, that actually means you are holding on to something and you can't let it go. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, tightness in the hips, that means you have one step in the future and one step in the past. And you're all just bound up in the hips. So you gotta let go of that thing, take the step forward so you can release that tension. Which obviously sounds batshit. I realize, like, that's crazy. But I like my YouTube algorithm and all the stuff that I try to watch. It's all like I literally got a video in my YouTube algorithm going like how to fix tight hips, and I was like about halfway through. He was showing all these stretches, and then he goes. And side note, you can do all these things to improve your hips, but the number one thing that you can do to improve the tightness in there is your mental health, because your anxiety can lead to shortness of breath. And chronic shortness of breath, there's actually a muscle that goes from your tailbone and connects near the bottom of your diaphragm. So if you're constantly having a shortness of breath or, just shallow breaths in general, that muscle will be insanely tight, and that'll just lead to constant tightness in your hips. Come on. Somebody explaining it that way makes me go, holy shit. She's obviously right. And she, when my aunt explained that to me, she handed me a whole book that had like all of your physical ailments and what mental issues they're connected to. And it might seem like a bunch of wacko stuff, like how are you going to fix your hips by meditating? That don't make no sense. But it's like people came to these conclusions for a reason. They noticed that everybody that was anxious around them had tight hips, and they were like, so if you don't let it go of something in the past, you have tight hips. And it is true. It's a correlation that has been seen by civilization. And so they go, when you fix your anxiety, your hips get less tight. That's what you got to do. Even though they don't have the science backing to it back then, they saw what the effects were. And I think I'm just going to get into a lot of stuff like that. Get into a lot of stuff like that. What does that mean? I don't know. I'm on the good train again. I started this podcast and I was so gung ho on building myself up, and I kind of lost sight of that for a while. But my hips are really tight, and I want to fix my hips. So I need to fix my brain. I don't know if every day goes like yesterday, I'm gonna have no issue with this. But I can't rely on life being good to me. I gotta make it good. So, yeah, struggling with just cravings of bad dope. And I haven't had it since I've been to Chicago, but I was having it at the tail end of Austin, and I know I just need to I can't just ignore it and go, well, now I'm in a better spot, so I'm not going to have those issues anymore. I gotta make sure that when I get to a bad spot again, I don't struggle as much as I did. And so I gotta do a preemptive meditation all the time, because I stopped meditating. I stopped really checking in with my mental health. I need to be funnier. Sorry. And I guess I don't know what the steps are to doing that, but I'll figure it out. I'll just keep doing things that are good for me. And if I do enough good things, then the bad won't seep in, I think. I don't know. One day at a time. That's what they say in the programs, I think. One day at a time. That's how time works. We all do it like that. That's a Hannibal Buress joke. I was like, I've heard that. Oh, man. Well, thank you guys for tuning into this. What am I at? 35? It's pretty good for a solo. I've just kind of been talking. But I got good stuff coming up. Tonight, I'm going to go rock climbing at a gym at 10 p.m. with just after hours. I love doing shit like that. This is the kind of stuff that's going to make me feel alive. Going out, experiencing new experiences, just doing fun stuff, saying yes when things are offered, going out on adventures. Yeah, I think life is about just trying to be your best self. And that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. That's what I'm going to do today. This has been a weird ep. And sorry, this is the program. This is what I do. I come on here solo and kind of go, life's a little crazy right now, but I'm trying. I do this every so often. And then also when I have guests on, the point of the guests is that they're people that I really respect and have done things that I want to do in life. And Mike is honestly like a great example of that. He's somebody that struggled with all his impulse controls and then has kind of turned himself into the goddamn best man I know. And same thing with Tim. He's just like a great dude that like I was a degenerate, but is able to turn himself from a degenerate into a goddamn family man. And I see these people and I go, okay, the people I know, love, respect have been able to turn themselves from what I am into who they are. So it's not impossible. I do think I really want to figure out this sexuality thing. I want to know, like, what do I like it? I think I know I like it because that was what last time I hooked up with somebody. I really like got down to, okay, I do like the hooking up, but it's the it's the I wish I could just be present and enjoy the sex and that was it. But really it's me fulfilling something that it's me filling a void that I should already have filled with self-love and then have so much self-love that I can not feel worthless when I go do that. So I guess that's what I'm going to talk to Ian a lot about that. I'm interviewing him tomorrow, and he's somebody that literally has the exact same struggle. So I'm kind of pumped. I've never talked to somebody in person about that has had the same struggles with this. So I'm really excited for that next interview, and I hope I get some insights, and I hope it helps me figure out what to do. I don't know if Ian's Ian is a really happy dude outwardly, but I always wonder what his internal is, and so we're gonna get to the bottom of it. I asked him to do the podcast. I don't think he even knows that it's gonna be about that. Maybe I should ask him first if he's comfortable talking about that the whole time. I'll shoot him a text. But yeah, I'm in a great spot right now. I gotta figure it out. I don't know. I'm ready for this month in Chicago. I got a bunch of shows set up, bunch of friends that I'm gonna see. And I just gotta keep trying. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I hope you guys keep trying. Sorry for a bummer episode. I wish I was funnier this time. I had some stuff I wanted to talk about that was a little bit silly, but this has kind of just been a big plague on my mind lately. So wanted to get it out. And if you guys hated this, I'm so sorry. I should have like a little producer off to the side so I can a little producer like. What does that even mean? But maybe I should have somebody that I'm rebounding off of so I don't just spiral into depression every time. Because that's kind of what I do on these solo episodes. I really spiral out and go, what am I doing? But I'm doing fine. I'm doing great, actually. Like I was jumping up and down and dancing last night because I was like, all my friends are here and I get to go do comedy. And life's good. So I need to, ups and downs are kind of haywire right now. I'm just going to focus on the up and make sure that I don't dip down too far. We're staying at the high waves, high frequency vibes only for the rest of Chicago, for the rest of life. High frequency vibes. So yeah, that's been the episode. Talked for 40 minutes on my own. I'm sorry if this got too depressing. I hope you guys feel like it was worth listening to. It was worth talking. So I got something out of it. I appreciate you guys so much. Have a good week. Do your best. Go out there. Just kill it. Just go, I'm the fucking man, and the world is my damn oyster. Only bright lights ahead. Life's good. Just keep telling yourself that all the time, and life is good. So that's what I'm going to do. I hope you do the same. I love you guys. This has been I Don't Want to Be a Piece of Shit. I've been Carter Doherty. Peace.